oh my gosh, I have completed knits. So I have tons to talk about today, and I have managed to finish 2 of my 3 test knits. So I have lots of cool stuff to share, and I hope you'll enjoy following me along for the ride of what ended up when I took these things off my needles. Start off, I am wearing my first finished test knit. This is my Beachside mock cable cardigan by Knits by Lillian, or Lillian Olson, and this is one of my 2 black cats. This is Roscoe. Betty, can I please do this video? Ow. Hello, you are sharp. Ow. You might settle? Can you settle, please? Settle. Oh, you're stuck. Okay, to start out, this cardigan was knitted in Patons wool worsted, so the classic Patons wool worsted in the color Seafoam, and I bought 5 skeins of the Patons wool worsted for $35. I ended up using 3.5. So this test knit really didn't take that much wool. I should have waited. I'll wait it next time, but. So I've completed my test knit, and a couple of things. The first, to start off, this was so much fun to knit. Like, honestly, I've knit cables. I love cables. I also love lace a lot. So this was really fun because it was an interesting 8-stitch, like, repeat, or I think it was an 8-row repeat. And it was just so potato chippy. Like, I very much wanted to knit at least the 8 rows every time I was working on it, and that made it really fun and easy to like finish. And while it didn't quite literally fly off the needles, it went pretty fast. I think it took me maybe 2 months, just over a month ish. So it was 40. So this cardigan was on the needles for a total of 46 days, which is about a month and a half, maybe. I started knitting on August 10th, and I cast off on September 29th. So the thing that kind of held me up, the thing that took longest to get me to casting off, were I struggled quite a bit with the decreases in the cuff, and with how to do the bind off in the cuff so it looked neat. I have a picture of my first attempt, which was bind off pattern, and then everyone in the chat helped me figure out how to do the Italian sewn bind off, or tubular sewn bind off, so that it looked much neater. And then the other big thing I really put off was I didn't want to pick up the whole button band, and now I remember why. So I picked up the button band. I picked it up at the rate that was in the pattern, and I already sized up, so generally you size down at least a full needle size to pick up the button band, and I sized up a half from there, hoping that would be enough to like help with my super uptight anxiety girl tension. But it doesn't seem to have been enough. So you can look at the button band. You see how it's like kind of just like pulling up. it's just really short. Like, that's part of the problem. I think the button band is too short, too tight, and also like my bind off is really tight. So I am at a minimum going to redo the button band. But honestly, I think I'm just gonna reknit the whole thing. So the sweater was a really fun knit. I really enjoyed it. I love these mock cable pattern. It's beautiful. The wool is really beautiful. This is such a perfect color. It is exactly the same color as my favorite jacket. And that was kind of intentional and kind of by accident, but I put them next to each other earlier, and I have some video of that, and I am just so impressed by my guesstimate on just looking at the yarn online. So one thing about this pattern is it's one of those, because it's knit from the bottom up, you knit like a big portion of the bottom, and then when you split, you knit the back first, and then you knit each front side, right? So I knit the back, and then I knit the front side, and when I went to pick up and knit the other front side, I noticed that like somewhere on the back, like 5 rows down, I had reversed my stockinette to a purl row, and so like I had this random purl row in like the middle of the mock cable, and I could not unsee it. And I know it was fine because it was on the back of the cardigan, and it would only bother me probably, but I wondered if I could fix that somehow, and so I went and did some searching, and I found a tutorial by Nimble Needles that it has like 8 different ways to fix a mistake in your knitting. And one of those was fix a mistake in a row several rows down. And that, I have a whole video of me doing that, and it was a mess. But because that video was so clear, I was able to do it, and I did fix this, and I was able to keep knitting without having to like frog the whole front panel and then frog like this much of the back panel to get to that one little messed up row. So now for my next finished object, I have finished my Under the Ivy beanie. Now it's still a little bit wet, so it kind of smells woolly. So this beanie is a test knit for Meeshy Frazz knits, and it is a Colorwork beanie, all over Colorwork, in this really pretty floral and ivy pattern. And I knit mine in Lion Brand 100% Baby Alpaca in the colors charcoal and lilac. Let me try this on for you. So I have completed this beanie, and there we go. And honestly, it's so cute. I am really excited to knit one for a friend for Christmas, and possibly knit one for my mom. I don't know, but I think this is one of my first really successful colorwork projects. Like, there's definitely some spots, especially up here, where my colorwork got tight again. But for the most part, especially where it really matters, like where it sits on your head, it's so much better. And I think her direction of how to do the colorwork really helped me. And also, I focused really hard on like making sure all of my stitches were spread out, and so I had the right width between stitches when I would add the neck color, and like, or when I would catch my floats, I made sure that they were spread out and I wasn't like pulling my float really tight, and I think that really helped. And I think it might be a little big, but I'm kind of excited to wear a really slouchy, warm alpaca beanie this winter. And I mean, it's not cold yet, but that doesn't mean it won't be soon. The thing about this beanie is I had three different color combination options I was looking at in my last video. And I decided to go with the charcoal and lilac colorway because that was the one I wanted to knit for myself, because I figured if it was too tight, if it wasn't perfect, it was just for me, and I wouldn't be like giving away a less than perfect gift. And also because I have kind of a small head, like I tend to wear kids' hats, so I figured also it might end up a little big on me, and it would be fine because, you know, a little big is better than too tight. So if my Colorwork ended up still being too tight and not being good enough, then at least I was just knitting it in something for me, and I was going to be the one who was wearing a less than perfect object. Like I definitely see there's like there's some not great one by one on the ribbing, especially on the side. I had one spot where I don't know what happened. But aside from that, like I think I did a good job, and I'm very excited about it. Okay, so next is whipland. And what I have discovered over the course of knitting these three test knits, three test knits the last week, is that I really need a good balance of projects, and I can kind of mentally only handle 3 projects at a time. So I need one simple stockinette or stockinette and little texture or something like that, very basic, easy, like knit while you're talking, knit while you're watching TV project. I need a medium complication project. So I need something that's Colorwork or pattern or whatever that is more complicated than the stockinette, but not so complicated as, for example, the Salty Days sweater that I'm working on right now. And I need one very complicated project, like I need a cable or a lace or a bow sort of project that takes a lot more focus and attention, and also is like so interesting as to be something I really want to work on, right? So that being said, I think I have the perfect balance right now. I have 3 projects instead of the 5 I was working on previously. I have a good balance of all those like levels of complexity, and I have a good balance of like kind of fabric and kind of deadlines and whatever else. Like everything is just exactly what I need to be able to not be freaking out about like finishing, right? So in Whipland, we can move on to my first whip, which is also technically my first test knit because I'm still working on it. It's like less complicated, but I don't know. It's because it's the broken rib. It's like I love the broken rib, but it's hard as far as like if you mess it up, it's real messed up. I have some of that to show you next, right? The Whipland is my stubble field sweater test knit for Yarn Over Everything. So this is the other panel. I don't remember if this is the front or the back. So this is the other panel I'm knitting. They're supposed to be the same length. And this little project progress keeper is the one I put in after last week. So my little schnauzer, I love him. So I have measured this because I planned a little bit, and I have currently knit from this progress keeper. So from that progress keeper is 9 inches. I currently have 14 inches total on the body, and for the full length I want, I need to get to 19 inches. So I have 5 more inches to go, but also I need your help. So this is they're called broken rib, right? So it's kind of more obvious on the back, but if you look at this piece, can you see right here where I like reversed my broken rib? So somehow I need to like fix that whole section without undoing like 10 inches of progress. I don't know. We'll have to see. That's kind of terrifying. So I have to figure that out first before I keep going. If it were you, what would you do? Would you frog all the way back, or would you, I don't know, like try to fix just that panel? Or what would you do if you were me? Because, oh my god. Okay, so this project is for Yarn Over Everything, and I am knitting it in Lion brand Coboo, in the color Admiral, and I'm on my third ball, and I have one more ball left, and I really hope this is enough for the sleeves. We may end up making a short sleeve sweater after all. So I started knitting this project on August 10th, and today is October 4th. So this has been on my needles for 55 days, and this is currently my longest project that has not been hibernated. So that is the Stubblefield sweater, and now we're going to the next one. So next for you, I have my Salty Days. So Salty Days is a sweater pattern by Katova Kika or Veronica Lindbergh. And currently there is a Salty Days towel going on, which is being run by Morgan Unraveled and Hayley Space, who are both Australian knitters. So this is what I've got. So I got to the cable chart, which is like section B or whatever. And that's where I stopped because a lot of people were having trouble on a specific section of the charting, and I got scared. And then also I had these test nets kind of piling up on me, and I realized that especially with the beanie that one hadn't been linking me up soon, so I needed to focus a little bit. So this got backburnered last week, and I did finish the cable section last week, but once I finished that, I haven't worked on it at all. And now what I have this little tiny piece of yarn left. That is the end of my first ball of yarn. This is all one ball. And I'm knitting it in Lion brand Superwash Merino in the color Quail, which, sorry guys, I think it's going to be so cool when it's done. I'm very excited for this. Oh no, that's right. I'm excited for this. The only other thing is, like, everybody who's knitting this, like, the 2x1? Yeah. So the 2x1 rib on the sleeves on this pattern, I'm afraid, because I really like these kind of baggy, slouchy sleeves, I'm afraid the 2x1 is going to make my sleeves too tight, and, like, they're not going to be comfortable or stretched out. So, I don't know. What would you do? Would you do, like, a stockinette? Would you do, like, the whole entire, like, this pattern? Like, some people have done the math to do the whole lace pattern on the sleeves, and I might do that, because I'm just afraid that the 2x1 won't do what I want it to do. But that's neither here nor there right now. I've got a ways to go before I get to sleeves. I said share. Hi, Fifi. Okay, sit, you're fine. Alright, so as far as my next like planned project, I have this gorgeous quilt top panel. Please don't. Hey, no, I'm going to kick you out. Right, so for my next planned project, I have this gorgeous quilt top panel here, which is huge. I'll put a video in. I am going to do a video of my first attempt at machine quilting the quilt panel. And this quilt panel is called the Aurora Scenic Multi-Panel by Missouri Quilt Co. And then I'm going to back it with Timeless Treasures Northern Lights Aurora. And so that Timeless Treasures panel is twice the width, because what I learned when I learned how to quilt on a quilting machine or long arm is that you need about 5 inches extra width around the whole, at least the width of your quilt, but the whole of your quilt, so that you have enough to get it really solidly on there and flatten everything out and all of that. So that is that's another video that I plan on doing. It's going to be like a step-by-step, not a tutorial, just like a vlog showing you how I learned how to do my first ever machine quilted piece. And I'm really excited to put this gorgeous piece up, possibly on the wall here. But this backing is Timeless Treasures. Oh, now we'll move on to acquisition. But the first thing I have acquired recently is I acquired this Mandala yarn holder in wood and leather. And I think it's really pretty. But part of why I got this is my partner and I have a yearly tradition of taking time and going out in our RV for it's usually at least a month. So when we do that, I am very much a passenger princess. I am actually genuinely afraid of driving, and so he does all the driving and he enjoys it, and I can sit next to him and knit, and I do all the walking of all the dogs whenever we stop, and I do all the cooking and things like that. So I was just thinking something like this would be helpful. I don't know if it would help specifically for knitting in the car, but I want to try it. And also, I think it'll be nice to have. It'll be nice to just know exactly where my yarn is at all the time, and it won't be able to roll under the seat away from me. So if you have a yarn holder like that, or any other kind of yarn holder, and you find it helpful for travel or for hiking or whatever, and how you use it, can you comment in the comments below and tell me about that, and tell me how that works for you, because I'm very curious. So I will be trying that. It'll be a while yet, but I'm excited to try that. Oops. Okay, so next, one of my dream knits that I want to work on eventually when I get better at Colorwork is the Pressed Flowers cardigan by Amy Christoffers. So I found this hand spun wool in the color, again, Aurora Borealis. And I already ordered several skeins of it, because I don't think this is enough for the cardigan. And I'm not entirely sure. I think it's fingering. It might not be the right weight, but I am going to use it regardless. So this is the yarn I'm using for that cardigan when I get around to it. But it is really pretty. So it's Aurora Borealis, and it was by the Tolo Etsy company. And so this person spins their yarn and sells it on Etsy. And it was a very good, reasonable price. And personally, so I'll link this down below because I found it really, really neat, and I adore the colors, and I'm very excited to work with this, but it's gonna be a couple more colorwork projects before I get to this, because I'm afraid, because I really don't want to mess this up. Okay, so the other thing I got was this Heritage Wave Superwash. What color is this? Sorry. It is color number 509. So it's like a purple, red, navy, and blue colorway. I believe this is also a fingering weight. So I'm excited to knit with this. I might knit socks. I might knit another one of those hats I just finished. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. So finally, my very final and last acquisition is a gift from my partner, which is Patty Lyon's Knitting Bag of Tricks, the official workbook. I haven't done a lot of looking at this yet because I was so focused on my test knits, but I'm very excited to look into this, and I will probably be doing, I'll definitely be mentioning it when I do the various work projects, knitting exercises. Okay. So it says, join knitting expert Patty Lyons on a journey to become a better knitter with the official workbook for her best-selling book, Patty Lyons Knitting Bag of Tricks. In this hands-on workbook, Patty brings her classroom experience straight into your home with exercises designed to illustrate the lessons and techniques she explored in Knitting Bag of Tricks. Pick up this practical workbook full of instructions for exercises to help you understand the why as well as the how of knitting and become a more confident knitter along the way. I know why. I know why my partner got this for me. So we're pretty sure that I am undiagnosed autistic, and something that really matters to me is knowing the why and the how behind something, like why it's done. So it will be very helpful for me to learn the why behind the various types of knitting, like the why behind things in Colorwork or the why behind tubular bind off. I don't know what exactly I'll get up to in here, but I am excited to look into this and learn more about knitting and stop being so scared of messing up. And also maybe I can figure out how based on this, how I can like modify a pattern to make that sweater that I'm trying to make, or make my own pattern for that sweater that I'm trying to make. So that will be exciting, and you'll have to follow along to learn more about this and what I do with it. That's all for today's podcast. That's all for this week. Quite a lot, actually. So until then, I'm Jennifer. This is HearHerHands. You can follow me here or on Instagram to get all the behind the scenes on all the things I'm knitting, my cute little schnauzers, my cat, my life here in Baltimore City. Eventually, my travels when I get back out on the road with my partner. And I hope you enjoyed. I'd love to hear from you on what you knitted while you were listening to me. And I hope we can talk again soon. And if you like this, comment on the podcast today, or subscribe to follow along. And hopefully I will have another interesting podcast for you again soon. Bye.